All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to the National Veterans Wheelchair Games, Rolling on the River, coming to you live from Spokane, Washington. Co-presented by the Paralyzed Veterans of America and Department of Veterans Affairs. I'm Ben Pearson with xable.com, and we're here at the Spokane Convention Center for the first match of the Quad Rugby. This is sponsored by HealthNet Federal Services Incorporated. And joining me is Bob Cranlow, who is the Secretary of the United States Quad Rugby Association. Bob, how you doing?
Doing fine. Looking forward to some good rugby here. We got it started off with Scott taking the tip and scoring the ball.
So White gets on the scoreboard very quickly.
Scott
Severn getting it across. Now, Bob, you're very familiar with quad rugby sport, but this is your first time at the Veteran Wheelchair Games. What's been your early impressions so far?
Of the games overall, or
yeah,
we just started this?
The games overall.
It's great. The camaraderie here, just the overall organization, and the size of the event is just it's a little bit mind-boggling.
Scott Severn scores again.
It's really been great. The people have gone all out. The city of Spokane is just great, and the organizing group, Northwest, is it the Northwest chapter of the PVA, I believe?
Yep.
And then they've just spent a number of years putting this thing together, and it really shows. They've got awesome volunteers here, and it's just looking to be a great wheelchair competition. So we got Scott scoring the second goal of the game. It's my understanding that most of these players have not played together before, other than at the Vets games, or occasionally they might see each other on the Quad Rugby court during the season.
And that's something that's kind of unique about this event, is the teams were formed last night. So a lot of these players never played with each other before. And 3 teams were formed.
There's a little disappointed in the number of athletes that are playing this year. It's down from normally 40. That's another goal. It's 3-0 White. 4, my fault.
And Scott Severn has been dominating so far.
Scott's an experienced player out there. I should know how many years he's been playing, but he plays for Michigan team, and he plays a lot of sports. I know he's playing softball. He's doing a number of sports here at the games.
There's air guns, doing discus, javelin, and softball on top of quad rugby, and the yellow team has been unable to slow him down so far. For those of you that are unfamiliar with the game, the main object of the game is to carry the ball through the cones you see at the ends of the court while having the ball in full possession. Both wheels need to cross the line for points to count.
Now he's got 10 seconds to get the ball over midcourt. That'll be another turnover.
So hear the oohs and the ahs for the crowd. This is one of the events that has the biggest draws at the Veteran Wheelchair Games, along with basketball. Certainly most physical of all the games, possibly the most competitive.
And the way that rugby is designed ability or disability-wise, I think that's 6 goals for Scott and 6 goals for the White, isn't it?
I believe so.
But Scott is a 3.0 out of a 3.5 possible points, going down to 0.5 by half-point increments. So your least functional player out there will be considered a half-pointer. Looks like, come on, Yellows possibly got a goal here. They've at least got it over mid-court for the first time. And it's quite a demanding task to ask of the team to come in and put it together without ever having played together before.
And you talk about the classifications. Each athlete is given a classification. You said 0.5 up to 3.5. And with the 4 players on the court, your total number cannot exceed 8, which kind of levels out the playing field a bit.
it lets us all, all play. All right. We've got that was a penalty on the offensive team, and I'm not sure what she called.
So the ball will go to yellow. Inbounded into Stephen McGuire.
And Steve McGuire is a 3.5. So
he gets it in as yellow gets on the scoreboard. Steve McGuire coming from Williamsburg, Virginia, Navy veteran.
Yeah, he plays for the East Coast Cripplers in the s1-Quad Rugby. That Gus Sorensen, number 11 there, was trying to cut off Scott. He was the, oh gosh. Forgot the award he got last year for the games.
Scott Severn scores again. He has scored every point for the white team thus far.
Now 13 is a .5. Looking for his name. Robert Schuler. And so he not only is a novice, but a .5 really doesn't have a lot of arm function, probably very little, if any, hand function, and you really don't want him handling the ball. But he took that inbound, and you want to kind of keep it in the hand of the high pointers.
We've talked about the classifications a bit. There's also different divisions between there's open, novice, and masters. For those who aren't familiar, can you kind of explain the difference between that?
Well, novice means the person that's their first time playing at the wheelchair games, and actually considered any organized disabled sporting event. Whether, like for me, I played quad rugby and other sports tournaments other places. This would be my first vets games, and I'm not playing at this game. So I would have been a novice, I thought, but I'm not. He's a novice. It's his first year. Masters is, I believe, over 45, and for quad rugby, if you're over 45, you get a half-point consideration on your classification. So if you're a 3.5 by physical classification, then you get a half-point drop in your class down to be a 3. So in the open class, that's everyone else in between novice and masters.
And as I understand, also you get 0.5 dropped on your classification if you're female as well.
That's right.
And there'll be a few female competitors.
You don't get both. So if you're 45 and a female, over 45 and a female, you got to take the choice. It's a new adjustment to the quad rugby game that's been going on in the international community in the last 4 or 5 years. It's kind of difficult to see the play from here.
So while with the classifications division, that equals the playing field, but also something they've added is that each player has to be on the floor for at least 8 minutes throughout the game.
That's got to be a difficult task, trying to coach a team where you're trying to adjust not only your points on the floor, so that you have maximum 8 points on the floor, but also to get every player on your bench 8 minutes of playing time, and also keep some experience on the floor. And that's a big factor in this game as you're watching it, is compared to guys who play quad rugby every season on a club team. These guys, for the most part on the floor, they don't play much quad rugby, and consequently it's showing out there.
And White will make some substitutions, taking everyone off except leaving their leading scorer, Scott Severn, on the floor.
Pretty much, you need to keep someone out there who knows what's going on. Otherwise, the game will just disintegrate into a bunch of guys pushing around on the floor. Some of the other aspects of the game that we haven't covered, for people who haven't seen the game before and aren't familiar with it, you'll hopefully notice around the end of the court. Nice pass in, and that was taken by Harold Bostic. It's a nice breakaway. They certainly needed a change. So we had a change of personnel.
That'll bring the score to 7-2. As Paul Mann will inbound the ball for the white team. He gets it to Severn.
Now he's got 10 seconds to get it over midcourt.
He's
easily does that, and he's got a breakaway. We'll see if he takes it.
Scott will take it the full length of the court, bringing their score up to 8. They lead 8-2.
I thought we were going to get an equipment timeout. If a player has problems with the equipment, whether it's a flat tire or problems with a chair or something holding it, strapping, you can call an equipment timeout, and you have 1 minute.
Yellow's got a breakaway going right now.
It was a nice recovery by
Stephen McGuire passes it off to Harold Bostic, and Yellow team scores, bringing the score to 8-3. You mentioned equipment malfunctions. Now, these chairs are not your everyday wheelchairs by any means. They look more like something a gladiator would use.
Yeah, that they are. And even as built up as they are designed specifically for quad rugby and nothing else. You've got wings and you've got pickers out front, and these chairs, especially built like that, you still have them breaking, you have them bending. Some of the more accomplished players in the game, they'll go through 2 chairs a season sometimes. These chairs, $2,000 a piece.
As Steve McGuire gets it to Bostic again, his Yellow team's been able to score more frequently now, but still unable to stop Scott Severin. And that's who the White team will inbound it to. They seem to have trouble getting that angle on him. Scott's been speeding down the sideline time and time again. That bringing the score to 10-4.
Steve McGuire, number 12, is the Yellow team's their captain and their coach if they were to have a coach. So he's in a tough position to be able to try to play and keep track of what's going on there with unexperienced. Well, they were trying to get a breakaway.
Severin scoring
Scott
once again.
Picked up the loose ball.
So is there, to stop them, it's a chair-on-chair contact. Is there a certain technique to be able to slow them or trap them?
You want to get your chair in front of the offensive player. Scott, if you watch Scott come off the court here, he was angling to cut in front. And it was Harold Bostic again. So they've got to go. You've got to go Steve Harold.
Yeah, they've kind of got a little combination going there. It's been able to get some points on the board between McGuire and Bostic.
Well, McGuire's a 3-5, Bostic's a 2-5, so there's your 6 points right there. They've got another 1-5 out there who number 4, because number 13 is a half point. So number 13 shouldn't be touching the ball at all. Another breakaway by Scott. On the White team, go ahead, let me check the lineup here. Go ahead. We got Scott.
So McGuire takes again towards the half-court line. He's got Bostic up ahead again. Can he find him? Yes, he can. While absorbing the hit from Severin, as Yellow gets their 6th point in the game. And that McGuire to Bostic combination is turned out to be foolproof.
They finally got a play working together where they forced Scott to come back, and he could either go for Bostic or he had to drop back for McGuire.
See, McGuire's not letting Severin get anywhere, sticking on him.
They got him trapped. That'll be good. They've got 5 seconds to inbound the ball. It's like we've got a turnover. That might be the first. It's not the first turnover of the game.
And Yellow is finally able to disrupt White's offensive flow, stopping Severin from getting the inbounds, which he has done time and time again thus far.
They're going to have to contain Scott if they're going to get back in this game.
This impound goes to McGuire. Once again, you guessed it, Harold Bostic. And they inch within
That's 2.
5
maybe
points.
They got a little bit of momentum coming up here. They got to keep Scott down. Down along the baseline. He's getting down. He's going to run out. Now you see how he got in front of him?
And White calls timeout.
The first timeout of the game. Each team, I'm not sure how they're running the timeouts here. We've changed the timeout rule in the play that we use in international play, but I'll have to check with the refs and see. We used to have 4 timeouts per game and then 1 additional per overtime. Each quarter is 8 minutes, 4 quarters per game. But on the ends of the court, you see the cones there, and we got these defensive boxes that are taped out. On defense, a team can have 3 players in that defensive box. A 4th player coming in, that'll cause for a penalty. That player will go in the box, and they'll have to play shorthanded. 3 players. 3 plays against 4.
And how long will that penalty be?
That penalty would normally be for 1 minute, and then if they're on defense, 1 minute, or a score by the offensive team. If the offensive team scores, then the player comes in out of the penalty box. And the offense needs to watch out for the key, or the box as we call it, down at the scoring, the goal end. And they can only be in the key for 10 seconds. I almost said 10 minutes.
Gets set to start play. Well, not quite. Yellow's got to give him some space.
She was giving him a break there. She could have called what's called a meter violation. You're not permitted to be within 1 meter of the inbounding player, so you have to allow them to come onto the court. And as defense, if you get called for a penalty, you're in the penalty box. Offense, it's a turnover. Nice lead pass there from number 4, Jamal Williams.
Gets up to McGuire. And what looked like would be a blowout early on, Yellow has finally found a way to slow down Severn and been able to put some points on the board themselves, bringing the score up to 12-8. What I spoke too soon is there Severn goes again for the breakaway.
They were working to try to cut him off. They get up on what we call getting him up on top of him, just get in between the offensive player with the ball and the goal. A little short on that inbound pass, and it's a turnover. It was the right idea. A couple of different. Go ahead.
So White will be inbounding it near their own goal. As Severn wheels around the top of the 3-point line of the basketball court. Trying to find someone to pass to. You see Bostic just sitting there, right there by the goal, waiting for Severn. He's not going to allow any easy path towards the goal.
For those of you who aren't here, we've got a scoring clock that we use in the USQRA. And
Severn muscles his way in.
Yep, push right through there. They need to really, you have to really hook those chairs with your chair if you can, or just get yourself in front. And even then, some of these strong players, they'll just push you right through and take you out. Scott being forced with that darned if you do and darned if you don't.
Oh, great defensive play by Severn. Bostic was wide open, but Severn was able to get his hand up and deflect the ball. McGuire will get it back. And he once again will be looking for Bostic, and Severn is guarding him.
Looks like he's got it.
Similar to a screen in basketball there, Bostic screens off Severn, letting McGuire the easy path to the goal, bringing the score to 14-9 here in the first quarter of the first match of the quad rugby here at the National Veteran Wheelchairs Games.
Looking like we got another turnover. Okay.
McGuire the Bostic again.
We're down to 4 points. We got ourselves a game, I think, here. It's the effect of having to play your whole bench. You know, you need to get some players in there. Scott ran up the score initially.
McGuire's chasing him. Can't reach him. Can Bostic get in front of him? Can slow him down?
Okay, he cut him off. Keep him to the side.
Nice defensive play by Bostic.
That was a nice play by Bostic.
And yellow will
Not
have
sure
the
what
ball.
the call was on that. I was looking down at my lineup sheet here, trying to get a handle on who's in the game.
It's inbound
So
to
they got him
Bostic.
trapped down there in the corner, and Scott's covered McGuire long, so Bostic really can't afford to throw a long one. He still has to get over it. So now he's got the 10 seconds beat. Nice little dump off, and we got a 3-point game.
Now in this match, we've really seen so far the difference in classifications and what it does for a person's speed and strength.
Well, you have the fellow that's right at midcourt right now. He's a .5, Michaud, I believe, and he's not going to handle the ball. Also, his mobility is nowhere near the higher pointers. We'll see if Bostic can take the angle, and Scott's got him. So I think they had a run of about 4 or 5 goals there for yellow. Kind of brought themselves back into the game here. I'm trying to check the lineup, what points we got out there for the white team. We've got Paul Mann, number 11, is a 2.5, a 2.5. Scott is a 3, number 1. I'm looking at the jersey numbers right now.
Joining him, we have Timothy Kelly, who's a 2.
Now we're very close to what we haven't talked about this, but it's like similar to basketball. Once you're in a forecourt, the goal end, you can't cross back over the half-court line into the backcourt. So we almost had an over and back.
All right, and with that buzzer, that would be the end of the first quarter. White came out to an early lead led by Scott Severn, but Yellow's been able to come back and bring it a little closer. 15-11 is the score at the end of the first quarter. Thanks for tuning in on xable.com. We'll be right back with more second quarter action.